Hello everybody, we continue with reading the Bible. We shall not hurry. I believe that the main rule of spiritual life should be do not hurry. And here we go. Abraham married another wife whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Yokshan, Medan, Median, Ishbak and Shuach. Yokshan became the father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Ashurim, the Letushim, and the Leumim. The descendants of Midian were Efer, Hanach, Abida, and Eldah. All of these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham deeded everything that he owned to his son Isaac. To his sons by concubine, however, he made grants while he was still living, as he sent them away eastward to the land of Kedar, away from his son Isaac. The whole span of Abraham's life was 175 years. Then he breathed his last, dying at a ripe old age, grown old after a full life, and he was taken to his kinsmen. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite, which faces Mamre, the field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites. There he was buried next to his wife Sarah. After the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac, who made his home near Beer Lahai Roi. These are the descendants of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's slave, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons, listed in the order of their birth: Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, Kedar, Adbel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, their names by their villages and encampments, 12 chieftains of as many tribal groups. The span of Ishmael's life was 137 years. After he had breathed his last and died, he was taken to his kinsmen. The Ishmaelites ranged from Havilah by Shur, which is on the border of Egypt, all the way to Ashur, and each of them pitched camp in opposition to his various kinsmen. This is the family history of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham had begotten Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Padam Aram, and the sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac entreated the Lord on behalf of his wife, since she was sterile. The Lord heard his entreaty, and Rebekah became pregnant. But the children in her womb jostled each other so much that she exclaimed, "If this is to be so, what good will it do me?" She went to consult the Lord, and he answered her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two people are quarreling while still within you, but one shall surpass the other, and the older shall serve the younger." When the time of her delivery came, there were twins in her womb. The first to emerge was reddish, and his holy body was like a hairy mantle, so they named him Esav. His brother came out next, gripping Esav's heel, so they named his Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. As the boys grew up, Esav became a skillful hunter, a man who lived in the open, whereas Jacob was a simple man who kept to his tents. Isaac preferred Esav because he was fond of game, but Rebekah preferred Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esav came in from the open famished. He said to Jacob, "Let me gulp down some of that red stuff, I'm starving." That is why he was called Edom. But Jacob replied, "First give me your birthright in exchange for it." "Look," said Esau, "I am on the point of dying. What good will any birthright do me?" But Jacob insisted. "Swear to me first." So he sold Jacob his birthright under oath. Jacob then gave him some bread and the lentil stew, and Esau ate, drank, got up, and went his way. Esau cared little for his birthright. There was a famine in the land, distinct from the earlier one that had occurred in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went down to Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. The Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt, but continue to camp wherever in this land I tell you. Stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you, for to you and your descendants I will give all these lands in fulfillment of the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and give them all these lands, and in your descendants all the nations of the earth shall find blessing. This because Abraham obeyed me, keeping my mandate, my commandments, my ordinances, and my instructions." So Isaac settled in Gerar. When the man of the place asked questions about his wife, he answered, "She is my sister." He was afraid if he called her his wife, the man of the place would kill him on account of Rebekah, since she was very beautiful. But when he had been there for a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, happened to look out of a window and was surprised to see Isaac fondling his wife Rebekah. He called for Isaac and said, "She must certainly be your wife. How could you have said she is my sister?" Isaac replied, I thought I might lose my wife on her account." "How could you do this to us?" exclaimed Abimelech. "It would have taken very little for one of the men to lie with your wife, and you would have thus brought guilt upon us." Abimelech therefore gave this warning to all his men. "Anyone who molests this man or his wife shall forthwith be put to death." Isaac sowed a crop in that region and reaped 100-fold the same year. Since the Lord blessed him, he became richer and richer all the time until he was very wealthy indeed. He acquired such flocks and herds and so many work animals that the Philistines became envious on him. The Philistines had stopped up and filled with dirt all the wells that his father's servants had dug back in the days of his father Abraham. So Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, you have become far too numerous for us." Isaac left there and made the Wadi Gerar his regular campsite. Isaac reopened the wells which his father's servants had dug back in the days of his father Abraham, and which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death. He gave them the same names that his father had given them. But when Isaac's servants dug in the wadi and reached spring water in their well, the shepherds of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's servants, saying, "The water belongs to us." So the well was called Ezek, because they had challenged him there. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one too, so it was called Sitna. When he had moved on from there, he dug still another well, but over this one they did not quarrel. It was called Rehoboth, because he said, "The Lord has now given us ample room, and we shall flourish in the land." From there Isaac went up to Beersheba. The same night the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. You have no need to fear, since I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." So he built an altar there and invoked the Lord by name. After he had pitched his tent there, his servants began to dig a well nearby. Abimelech had meanwhile come to him from Gerar, accompanied by Ahuzat, his counselor, and Pichol, the general of his army. Isaac asked them, "Why have you come to me, seeing that you hate me and have driven me away from you?" They answered, "We are convinced that the Lord is with you, so we propose that there be a sworn agreement between our two sides, between you and us. Let us make a pact with you. You shall not act unkindly toward us, just as we have not molested you, but have always acted kindly toward you and have let you depart in peace. Henceforth the Lord's blessing be upon you." Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Early the next morning they exchanged oaths. Then Isaac bade them farewell, and they departed from him in peace. That same day Isaac's servants came and brought him news about the well they had been digging. They told him, "We have reached water." He called it Sheba, hence the name of the city Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bezemah, daughter of Elon the Hivite. But they became a source of embitterment to Isaac and Rebekah. When Isaac was so old that his eyesight has failed him, he called his older son Esau and said to him, "Son." "Yes, father," he replied. Isaac then said, "As you can see, I am so old that I may now die at any time. Take your gear, therefore, your quiver and bow, and go out into the country to hunt some game for me. With your catch prepare an appetizing dish for me, such as I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my special blessing before I die." Rebekah had been listening while Isaac was speaking to his son Esau. So when Esau went out into the country to hunt some game for his father, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father tell your brother Esau, 'Bring me some game, and with it prepare an appetizing dish for me to eat, that I may give you my blessing with the Lord's approval before I die.' Now, son, listen carefully to what I tell you. Go to the flock and get me two choice kids. With this I will prepare an appetizing dish for your father, such as he likes. Then bring it to your father to eat, that he may bless you before he dies." "But my brother Esau is a hairy man," said Jacob to his mother Rebekah, "and I am smooth-skinned. Suppose my father feels me, he will think I am making sport of him, and I shall bring on myself a curse instead of a blessing." His mother, however, replied, "Let any curse against you, son, fall on me. Just do as I say. Go and get me the kids." So Jacob went and got them and brought them to his mother, and with them she prepared an appetizing dish such as his father liked. Rebekah then took the best clothes of her older son Esau that she had in the house and gave them to her younger son Jacob to wear, and with the skins of the kids she covered up his hands and the hairless parts of his neck. Then she handed her son Jacob the appetizing dish and the bread she had prepared. Bringing them to his father, Jacob said, "Father." "Yes," replied Isaac. "Which of my sons are you?" Jacob answered his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I did as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your special blessing." But Isaac asked, "How did you succeed so quickly, son?" He answered, "The Lord your God let things turn out well with me." Isaac then said to Jacob, "Come closer, son, that I may feel you, to learn whether you really are my son Esau or not." So Jacob moved up closer to his father. When Isaac felt him, he said, "Although his voice is Jacob's, the hands are Esau's." He failed to identify him because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau, so in the end he gave him his blessing. Again he asked him, "Are you really my son Esau?" "Certainly," he replied. Then Isaac said, "Serve me your game, son, that I may eat of it and then give you my blessing." Jacob served it to him, and Isaac ate. He brought him wine, and he drank. Finally, his father Isaac said to him, "Come closer, son, and kiss me." As Jacob went up and kissed him, Isaac smelled the fragrance of his clothes. With that he blessed him, saying, "Ah, the fragrance of my son is like the fragrance of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give to you of the dew of the heavens and of the fertility of the earth, abundance of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations pay you homage. Be master of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you." Jacob had scarcely left his father, just after Isaac had finished blessing him, when his brother Esau came back from his hunt. Then he too prepared an appetizing dish with his game, and bringing it to his father, he said, "Please, father, eat some of your son's game, that you may then give me your special blessing." "Who are you?" his father Isaac asked him. "I'm Esau," he replied, "your firstborn son." With that Isaac was seized with a fit of uncontrollable trembling. "Who was it," then he asked, "that hunted game and brought it to me? I finished eating it just before you came, and I blessed him. Now he must remain blessed." On hearing his father's words, Esau burst into loud, bitter sobbing. "Father, bless me too," he begged. When Isaac explained, "Your brother came here by a ruse and carried off your blessing," Esau exclaimed, "he has been well named Jacob. He has now supplanted me twice. First he took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing." Then he pleaded, "Haven't you saved a blessing for me?" Isaac replied, "I have already appointed him your master, and I have assigned to him all his kinsmen as his slaves. Besides, I have enriched him with grain and wine. What then can I do for you, son?" But Esau urged his father, "Have you only that one blessing, father? Bless me too." Isaac, however, made no reply, and Esau wept aloud. Finally Isaac spoke again and said to him, "Ah, far from the fertile earth shall be your dwelling, far from the dew of the heavens above. By your sword you shall live, and your brother you shall serve. But when you became restive, you shall throw off his yoke from your neck." Esau bore Jacob a grudge because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, "When the time of mourning for my father comes, I will kill my brother Jacob." When Rebekah got news of what her older son Esau had in mind, she called her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Listen, your brother Esau intends to settle accounts with you by killing you. Therefore, son, do what I tell you. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran and stay with him a while until your brother's fury subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you did to him. Then I will send for you and bring you back. Must I lose both of you in a single day?" Rebekah said to Isaac, I am disgusted with life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob also should marry a Hittite woman, a native of the land, like these women, what good would life be to me?" Isaac therefore called Jacob, greeted him with a blessing, and charged him, "You shall not marry a Canaanite woman. Go now to Padan Aram, to the home of your mother's father Bethuel, and there choose a wife for yourself from among the daughters of your uncle Laban. May God Almighty bless you and make you fertile, multiply you, that you may become an assembly of peoples. May he extend to you and your descendants the blessing he gave to Abraham, so that you may gain possession of the land where you are staying, which he assigned to Abraham." Then Isaac sent Jacob on his way. He went to Padan Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, and brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau noted that Isaac had blessed Jacob when he sent him to Padan Aram and got himself a wife there, charging him, as he gave him his blessing not to marry a Canaanite woman. And then Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and gone to Padan Aram. Esau realized how displeasing the Canaanite women were to his father Isaac, so he went to Ishmael, and in addition to his wives he had married Mahalath, the daughter of Abraham's son Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Jacob departed from Beersheba and proceeded toward Haran. When he came upon a certain shrine, as the sun had already set, he stopped there for the night. Taking out of the stones at the shrine, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep at that spot. Then he had a dream. A stairway rested on the ground, with its top reaching to the heavens, and God's messengers were going up and down on it. And there was the Lord standing beside him and saying, I, the Lord, am the God of your forefather Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land on which you are lying I will give to you and your descendants. This shall be as plentiful as the dust of the earth, and through them you shall spread out east and west, north and south. In you and your descendants all the nations of the earth shall find blessing. Know that I am with you. I will protect you wherever you go and bring you back to this land. I will never leave you until I have done what I promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he exclaimed, Truly, the Lord is in this spot, although I did not know it. In solemn wonder he cried out, How awesome is this shrine! This is nothing else but an abode of God, and that is the gateway to heaven. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone that he had put under his head, set it up as a memorial stone, and poured oil on top of it. He called that site Bethel, whereas the former name of the town had been Luz. Jacob then made this vow, If God remains with me to protect me on this journey I am making, and to give me enough bread to eat and clothing to wear, and I come back safe to my father's house, the Lord shall be my God. This stone that I have set up as a memorial stone shall be God's abode. Of everything you give me, I will faithfully return a tenth part to you. After Jacob resumed his journey, he came to the land of the Easterners. Looking about, he saw a well in the open country with 3 droves of sheep huddled near it, for droves were watered from that well. A large stone covered the mouth of the well. Only when all the shepherds were assembled there could they roll the stone away from the mouth of the well and water the flocks. Then they would put the stone back again over the mouth of the well. Jacob said to them, Friends, where are you from? We are from Haran, they replied. Then he asked them, Do you know Laban, son of Nahor? We do, they answered. He inquired further, Is he well? He is, they answered, and here comes his daughter Rachel with his flock. Then he said, There is still much daylight left. It is hard the time to bring the animals home. Why don't you water the flocks now and then continue pasturing them? We cannot, they replied, until all the shepherds are here to roll the stone away from the mouth of the well. Only then can we water the flocks. While he was still talking with them, Rachel arrived with his father's sheep. He was the one who tended them. As soon as Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of his uncle Laban, with the sheep of his uncle Laban, he went up, rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well, and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and burst into tears. He told her that he was her father's relative, Rebekah's son, and she ran to tell her father. When Laban heard the news about his sister's son Jacob, he hurried out to meet him. After embracing and kissing him, he brought him to his house. Jacob then recounted to Laban all that had happened, and Laban said to him, "You are indeed my flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him a full month, Laban said to him, "Should you serve me for nothing just because you are a relative of mine? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had two daughters. The older was called Leah, the younger Rachel. Leah was lovely eyes, but Rachel was well-formed and beautiful. Since Jacob had fallen in love with Rachel, he answered Laban, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban replied, "I prefer to give her to you rather than to an outsider. Stay with me." So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, yet they seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, that I may consummate my marriage with her, for my term is now completed." So Laban invited all the local inhabitants and gave a feast. At nightfall he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and Jacob consummated the marriage with her. Laban assigned his slave girl Zilpah to her daughter Leah as her maidservant. In the morning Jacob was amazed. It was Leah. So he cried out to Laban, "How could you do this to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why did you dupe me?" "It is not the custom in our country," Laban replied, "to marry off a younger daughter before an older one. Finish the bridal week for this one, and then I will give you the other two in return for another 7 years of service with me." Jacob agreed. He finished the bridal week for Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel in marriage. Laban assigned his slave girl Bilhah for his daughter Rachel as her maidservant. Jacob then consummated his marriage with Rachel also, and he loved her more than Leah. Then he remained in Laban's service another 7 years. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he made her fruitful, while Rachel remained barren. Leah conceived and bore a son, and she named him Reuben, for she said, "It means the Lord saw my misery, now my husband will love me." She conceived again and bore a son, and said, "It means the Lord heard that I was unloved, and therefore he has given me this one also." So she named his Simeon. Again she conceived and bore a son, and she said, "Now at last my husband will become attached to me, since I have now borne him 3 sons. That is why she named him Levi." Once more she conceived and bore a son, and she said, "This time I will give grateful praise to the Lord." Therefore she named him Judah. Then she stopped bearing children. Okay, thank you very much for listening, for watching the video. Of course, you can watch at your pace previous videos. I'm continuing to recording once a week, but you can watch on your pace how much you can. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.